Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. First of all, I wanted to thank you all for your patience. I've had a few problems over the last 50 episodes or so where my Blue Yeti bit the dust, and switching to the Heil PR40 and a Focusrite Scarlett interface provided me with a few learning curves. But when recording 7 podcasts a week, it can be difficult to learn quickly enough. So a big thank you for sticking with me, and I think we've finally got the sound mastered. Just to throw something else into the mix, I'm also currently decorating my little office, which, let's be honest, is basically just a small spare room in my house. But when it's all sorted, I'm going to let you see a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes. And I think I've been bitten by the whole New Year planning thing. So in January, I wanted to start the new year with a new recording environment, redecorated office, revamped website, and finally open up an Instagram account just for Tech Blog Writer so you could see what goes on behind the scenes. And if I can get 1,000 of you, I might just stop hiding behind this microphone and speak to you all each day via Insta Stories on video. So thank you for sticking with the show, and rest assured, I'm planning on improving things with the show and beyond, as I take serving you, my loyal audience, quite seriously. But this show is not about me, it's not about my plans, it's much, much bigger than that. It's about how technology is transforming multiple industries and making life easier to do business, and even improve our lifestyle too. And today I want to learn more about a company called Jane.ai, which is an artificial intelligence platform that makes all of your company's information accessible through chat. Essentially, Jane learns from all the information that is currently scattered right across your cloud-based applications, your documents, your websites, and makes all that information accessible to users through existing communication systems, let's say, such as Slack, SMS, web, or email. And Jane also understands conversational English enquiries and provides a response within seconds. If there is an inquiry that is asked that Jane doesn't know, she'll route it to a co-pilot who will work at the company for a response, continuously building a knowledge base of all of a company's tribal knowledge. And anyone that's worked at an organisation and just wants to get their hand on a simple piece of information and finds the whole process incredibly cumbersome should find this one quite interesting. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to St. Louis so we can speak with David Karandish from Jane.ai, who's going to tell us how this artificial intelligence platform can make all of your company's intelligence accessible through chat. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
I'm David Karandish, CEO and co-founder of Jane.ai. Jane is an enterprise artificial intelligence platform that helps you do your best work.
Fantastic. Now, when I was doing a bit of research on you guys, I quickly learned that Jane.ai is an artificial intelligence platform that makes all of anybody's company's information accessible through chat. I mean, it's a great concept, but can you just help people listening visualize exactly what Jane.ai is and what makes it unique from other solutions out there?
Yeah, so the way to think about what we're doing is we help companies make their intelligence accessible by connecting to the 3 major sources of company intel: your company's apps, your company's documents, and the knowledge base of your team. And so you can ask Jane questions like, how many vacation days do I have? Or what's my sales pipeline? Or you could ask her questions out of your documents around training materials or onboarding. Or you could ask questions like, who's the expert in GDPR compliance? The basic idea is that all of your company intel exists in an app, a document, or in someone's head. And so Jane is the first AI platform for the workplace that makes that accessible through whatever chat interface you'd like. So she can work with Slack or Skype. You can put Jane on your intranet. You can connect her to your company's email provider. Anywhere where you would want to ask a question, she's there.
Well, I love what you guys are doing with it and how it's empowering employees to access their company's intelligence. But what I love most about it is it's doing it in the simplest way possible. So you mentioned Slack a few moments ago. So can you talk me through how it works through a conversational interface such as Slack and how it makes company information more accessible by actually integrating with apps and mining intel from all those docs that every company has that's just scattered all across the network?
Yeah, so the way to think about it is that companies are moving more and more of their apps to the cloud, whether it's your email, your calendar, your HRIS, your CRM, your ticketing platform, or your cloud drives. And so we've built a bunch of connectors that can connect to those systems so that when you ask Jane a question, her natural language processing will interpret that question and then figure out which of those APIs to go call to give you back an answer, and to do that in about 3 seconds. So the idea is that we want to make all of your intel accessible across all of your apps. The second area, though, are your documents, where you've got information on your handbook or your sales training material. We're working with one company that when they bring on a new team member, they have to read a 237-page manual. And, it's like not exactly a beach read in terms of accessibility. And so those team members have questions on items that are listed in that document. They can come back a day later, a week later, or a year later, ask those questions to Jane, and she'll give an instant response.
So do you have any examples of how it's helped your customers, and maybe provide a before and afterwards scenario so just they can understand how it's made a difference to them?
Yeah, I'll give a good example. So we're working with a customer, USA Mortgage, where they have a large population of loan officers who have to log into these key systems to figure out what the interest rate would be or the contact information for one of their loans. And in an environment where interest rates are inching up, getting that loan rate lock status locked in, it might be the difference between someone getting the home of their dreams or someone not being able to get a loan. And so now, instead of having to log into a physical desktop to go pull that information, these loan officers could go ask Jane on their mobile phone, hey, what's the interest rate on the Johnson loan? Or when does the XYZ rate lock expire? And they'll get an instant response right to their phone. Another example, we're working with Centene. Centene has brought Jane in to help with their HR service center. So when people have questions as a new team member about things like the vacation policy or the maternity leave policy or some of the employee handbook type work, they can ask that question to Jane without having to go bug someone. And they can do that any time of the day on any device.
So I read a great quote from you where you said pitting humans against machines is one of the big design flaws of a lot of AI systems. So can you expand on that and why you're taking a different approach?
Yeah, we fundamentally believe that AI is here to help people do their best work. And that means freeing you up to do the things that you were made to do, to think creatively, to work and solve new problems, not to go through and tackle mundane tasks and do the same things over and over again. That's a very industrial economy approach to work. We believe that AI will help unlock human potential, human creativity, and drive both a more productive workplace and a more enjoyable workplace. Now, a lot of people have pitched AI in the media as an area that will go disrupt a bunch of jobs and it'll change the way people work. And of course, there will be some of that. But we fundamentally believe that AI, technology, and humans working together are where you're going to get the best results. So from the very beginning, we designed Jane with this idea that if you ask her a question and she doesn't know the answer, we will bring a human in the loop. And when we bring that human in the loop, that person will teach the AI so that that person doesn't have to answer that same question again. You think about areas like customer support. Most of the people that go into customer support are friendly and they're helpful and they want to see people succeed, whether it's external customer support or internal HR customer support. But you really don't want that person to have to answer the same question that they've answered 72 times before, maybe even in that week. You don't want somebody to have to do that. So the idea is that we are unlocking human potential. We're helping people go do their best work, helping people solve complex problems, be more creative, get more work done, and doing that by partnering humans and AI together.
Now, you raised $8.4 million last year, but of course it's not all about the money. It's more about how that funding is going to help you progress as a company. So can you tell me a little bit about how that funding is going to help you both last year and also into 2019?
Yeah, so we are a startup in a field that is exploding. The market for artificial intelligence solutions globally will be north of $100 billion by 2025, and we believe that we have an awesome opportunity to seize a hold of that growth and build an amazing company. And so to do that, we've hired a lot of engineers to help build out a platform. I was talking with someone the other day. We've taken a very safe bet and a very contrarian bet in our approach to building out this company. The safe bet is that AI is going to take off. I think that is almost universal, at least in the tech circles that the media covers. Almost everyone is in agreement that AI is going to be the new thing. The contrarian bet, though, is that we fundamentally believe that there are a lot of companies building point solutions. It might just be a travel bot, or just be a sales bot, or just be a scheduling bot, and some of them will do great work. And we don't want to throw stones at those folks. But I personally believe that building a platform that can connect to all of your areas of company intelligence is what enterprise companies are going to want. They're not going to want to string together 12 different AIs to cover 12 different tasks, because it's going to recreate a lot of the same problems we have with humans, where it's like, who do I go? What AI do I talk with to get this question answered, or who do I even go to get this solved? We believe that in an Apple-like approach, you're going to want to have one integrated AI that powers the organization, whether it's externally customer-facing or internally team member-facing.
Now, it seems that many sites are adding chatbots to their websites at the moment, but for anyone that's not seen it, can you just tell the listeners a little bit more about those 5 questions that you guys think business should ask before even thinking about implementing a chatbot or that kind of technology? Yeah,
great question. The first thing we would ask is, what major use case and problem are you trying to solve? And we think about it in 4 buckets. There's externally revenue-facing. How can we go generate more leads through our website? There's external revenue-facing, but internal. How can we make our sales team more effective? There's cost-facing, external. How can we cut down the cost of our customer support? And then there's internal cost and experience, saying, what can we do to provide a better team member experience for our team? So depending on where you fit on one of those parts of that 4 box will depend on kind of the next set of questions. So first, it's determining the first place to start. The second thing is we would say, what does your overall cloud strategy look like? What systems are you using, and what does that look like over the long haul? We had one client who came to us and said, hey, we're implementing a Workday rollout. Can you help us with all the questions that people have when all their cheese got moved, when they have to use an entirely new system to do all their vacation tracking and expense reporting, et cetera? The third question I would ask would be around, how important are these experiences to you? If you view the people on your website as very transactional and we don't really want to go establish a relationship there, that's one thing. But if you look at every visitor to your website as a potential customer, or you look at every service center request internally as an opportunity to go above and beyond, then this technology is it's not just a nice to have, it's a need to have as consumers continue to increase their expectations for what's possible. The fourth question I would ask is, how have we crafted an AI strategy for the organization? How have we budgeted for it? How have we thought about rolling this out across the org? There is not a business on this planet that isn't going to have some facet of AI over the next 30 years. Now, it may be in some of the devices we use, it may be in some of the processes we have, or it may be entire team members that are in AI form instead of people. There's going to be a whole mix of those. But having that strategy down is so important. You don't want to go haphazardly implementing AI technology left and right. And the last thing I would say is, how can this technology be more pleasure, derive more pleasure, or generate more pleasure for our customers and our team members? How can we not just help them do things faster? How can we help them do things better? How can we continue to foster the best and the brightest out of our workforce? How can we continue to delight our customers over and over again from an external standpoint?
Now, for many businesses listening, they might have been burned by the exaggeration of capabilities such as AI and machine learning, especially in the week of CES, where so much technology is exaggerated now. So, where do you think we actually are now, and what do you think's next for artificial intelligence and machine learning? I understand you probably can't say from the global aspect of it, but from your point of view and the kind of technology that you're working with?
Yeah, if I use a baseball analogy, I think we are in the first inning and we are on the second pitch.
Yeah,
we are still very early in global adoption of AI, and it will seem like an explosion over the next few years in terms of companies adopting AI, bringing it into the workplace, both externally and team member facing. The way I kind of think about it is we use a paradigm we call the 4 A's. The first A is when AI technology will help you access the information. So instead of having to go 10 clicks deep, you just ask the question in natural language. Instead of having to say, look for a certain report or for a certain section of a report, you just ask the question on what you need. So access is the base of the pyramid. The next layer up is what we would define as actions. This is where the AI is starting to do things for you, starting to create that new lead in your CRM, starting to schedule that meeting for you between 5 different people, starting to create that ticket into the help desk system, so taking actions on your behalf. The third A would be analytics. This is where the AI platforms are deriving insights out of your data that maybe you haven't been able to see before. So imagine as an HR team being able to look in and say, oh, here are the people who are likely to leave the organization over the next 12 months. Let's go from a predictive standpoint, understand what those behaviors could look like and how we could address that. Or, looking at your sales pipeline, here are the deals that are actually going to close based on historical trends, regardless of what sales stages team members put them in. And then the last A that we think about is Jane and AI technologies being active or proactive. So instead of you reaching out to the AI, it's reaching out to you. Oh, it looks like there's a new team member who just joined. Would you like me to schedule a one-on-one? Or, hey, we've got a new healthcare plan with 2 options. Can I walk you through what each of these look like? And so the way that we kind of see it is that companies will continue building up that pyramid, starting with information access, moving toward actions, bringing on analytics, and finally, these AIs being proactive. You said, David, where do you want to be in 5 years? I want Jane to be reaching out to you as much as you're reaching out to her.
Well, here we are just 2 weeks into 2019. You had a fantastic year last year. But I've got to ask, what excites you most about 2019? And is there anything else you can share with us about your plans for the year and beyond?
Yeah, I think what excites me most about 2019 is continuing to help companies do their best work. It's working with organizations to remove the friction of the workplace. I come from a standpoint where I don't think work is a bad thing. I think most people want to work. The modern workplace is filled with unnecessary meetings and you're inundated with SharePoint documents, and you're buried in red tape, and nobody likes that in any field. And so if we can come in and help you be more efficient, more effective, and more productive, I think that's an amazing thing. I think we can build a financially successful business doing so, but I think there's a greater good in that as well. In terms of specifically for us, I look at this next year, we've got some really big clients in the pipeline that we're continuing to sign up week in and week out. But I also look at it and say that the platform of what we've built, we are opening it up for developers to be able to build on top of our platform, so you can connect, Jane, to whatever data source you want. I don't care if it's a random document somewhere, or a highly structured database, or an Excel sheet, or some cloud app, or some app you develop, for a proprietary basis. We want to be able to treat all of your information as if it could be queried, as if you could ask a question to it, as if it is accessible. And so we're making big strides on that, and you'll see some announcements on that over the coming months.
Excellent. Well, if we do have anyone listening that wants to find out more information on how Jane could help their business, or just maybe even ask your team a couple of questions, what's the best way of finding out more information and reaching out to your team?
Yeah, check us out at Jane.ai. We have the Jane chat interface on our own website, or you could reach out to our team through there as well.
Fantastic. Well, I love how Jane learns information scattered across cloud-based applications, documents and websites, and makes it accessible to users through all their existing communication systems, such as Slack, SMS, web and email. But I think what's most exciting about it is it allows them to access their company's intelligence in the simplest way possible. It's almost as if the technology has become invisible, and I think that's so valuable now. So, but more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on today and sharing that story with me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Anyone that has worked or ever worked in an office will know how much time is wasted trying to find answers to simple questions or just access essential information. Whether onboarding or on the road, asking questions or answering them, Jane.ai is attempting to solve this very real problem and stop those wasted hours in just searching for information. But like I said at the end of the interview, what I love most about what they're doing here is there isn't a complex learning curve to jump through. Yes, the technology and the algorithms is incredibly complex, but the end user doesn't need to see it and certainly doesn't need to understand it. The tech is almost invisible from the user's point of view. It learns in the background from the information scattered across cloud-based applications, documents, websites, and then makes it accessible to them through existing communication systems such as Slack, SMS, web or email. And this is what makes what they're doing incredibly cool in my eyes. If you want to grab an Uber, an Amazon Prime delivery or a show on Netflix, you don't need to know about all the complex algorithms that go on in the background to provide you with that experience. And this is something that creators of many solutions forget. But hey, this show is not about the thoughts or rants of Chairman Neil C. Hughes. It's time for me to pass the virtual microphone over to you. What are your thoughts about today's conversation? Email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. Twitter and Instagram are both the same, at Neil C. Hughes. And my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. Wow, we packed a lot into today's show, didn't we? Covered a lot of ground. But before I go, I just want to thank each and every one of you for your messages on Twitter, your Instagram and emails, but most of all, for tuning into this podcast every single day. Because you are the reason I'm sat here talking into this microphone. So thanks for inviting me along and allowing me into your life and your daily routine. Now, my next trip is to Phoenix, Arizona at the end of the month, where I'll be taking this podcast on the road again. So if you live in that area, let me know and we'll grab a cold beer or a hot coffee. If not, I'll speak to you again tomorrow. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.